Hi, this is Kenny Daigle with KD Cuts. A couple of weeks ago, I did a video using a camouflage tool or a cam tool, a beveler, and a pear shader to make a rope or a serpentine type of design. And this is where we ended up a couple of weeks ago. I got a lot of great feedback from that video, so I decided to go ahead and do a part 2 where I add a few other variations to the basic concept. So let's go to the workbench and get started. So we're going to start with a couple of pieces of leather that I've already did the staggered cam tool stamping in. Notice the dual center lines about 1/8 inch apart. I'm using the tool, the same tool I used in the part 1 video, the C831. Only this time I'm going to change my beveler up, and I'm going to use my checkered beveler. That's B702. And I'm going to stick with the same pear shader, P217. I also prepared a sample using a veiner, and that's the craft tool V407. Same basic idea, stagger the pattern along 2 center lines again, roughly 1/8 inch apart. Alright, so we're about to do our beveling. And when we did the first video, we beveled like this on the outside edge of the cam tool, and we leaned away from the cam tool like that. Okay? Here, we're going to use the inside of the arc from the cam toe, and same thing, we're going to lean away from the cam tool. Same thing, I'm using about half of the width of the beveling tool face. So there you go, we finished that first one, and we've basically just flipped the bevel tool and used it in the other direction. Alright, so now I've got a second sample, and this time I'm going to go back and I'm going to do the top of the circle, or the top of the arc, and lean again away from the cam tool. Okay, so that's it, guys. Now I'm going to leave the other side alone. I'm just going to have the bevel on one side. So now we're going to work on the pattern where we used the veiner, the V407, versus one of the camouflage tools. So again, leaning away from the toe of the tool. Okay, so we finished that one. So those are the 3 things we've worked on. Now we're going to move on to shading. Okay, so I'm using my pear shader, the same thing I did in part 1, the P217. So that's one shaded. Now we're going to go ahead and shade the one where we only did beveling on one side and not on the other side. Okay, so since I only used the bevel on one side, I think I'm just going to leave the bevel accent on one side and not go over and work on a bevel accent on the other side. Okay, and finally we're going to go ahead and do the veiner, the one we used the V407 on. And there you go. I'm going to just leave that shading accent on one side. Let's summarize what we've done. So right here are from the part 1 video. You can see the use of the shader. And here are what we've done in our part 2 video. So here's the first one where we used the inside of the cam tool arc versus the outside of the cam tool arc. And you'll notice here I didn't shade as much as I did on these two. Okay? Just my choice. Here's the next one where we just did the outside arc on one side and we did not do it on the other side. And again, I did a little less shading in this example. And finally, on the one where I substituted the veiner for the camouflage tool and stayed on the outside arc of the veiner, I went ahead and shaded, did a little heavier shading. Again, it's all about the effect you're trying to gain. So that's it, part 2 on using a camouflage tool or a veiner, a bevel tool, and a pear shader to make serpentine or rope type of designs. Hope you found this interesting. If you did, please hit the like button down below and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thanks. See you soon.